Well, I was in the middle of writing a script and doing some research for another Warhammer video that I'm currently working on, until I was rudely interrupted by this article from CBR that states, Henry Cavill's Warhammer 40k series could be The Witcher all over again. Shock, gasp. Would we expect anything less from CBR? And no less than 4 days out from when Henry first initially announced this Warhammer series through Amazon and Vertigo. But they literally cannot help themselves at this point. They can't go a week without being like, oh, we have another property? It's like they have a secret spidey sense or something of just, hey, oh, is there another IP or a property that we haven't ruined yet? Let's go call the fans toxic and keep dividing people. That'll be a great idea. They can sense it in the ether, somehow within the warp. They can manifest these feelings of, oh, I feel that someone's enjoying a hobby. Oh, we must destroy it. We need to go call the fans toxic. So that's essentially what this article goes and does. The article begins by calling Warhammer, quote, a sci-fi tabletop role-playing game with extensive miniatures. It's a 35-year-old universe with a fanbase that makes DC and The Witcher fans seem like erudite scholars debating civilly at one of those clubs where everyone has to wear the same jacket. Okay, well, if CBR had done their research, or if CBR had even walked into a Games Workshop, which I highly doubt that they have, they would actually know that Warhammer fans are some of the most scholarly and intelligent people I have ever met. Now, in my time in the Marine Corps, a lot of my Marines were actually Warhammer fans as well. And guess what? They were extremely intelligent and had to have a different type of passion for the hobby than other people who may, be into cars or guns or something. Warhammer fans are special in that they have to be a dedicated hobbyist in order to understand the lore, in order to understand the tactics and the stratagems of the actual tabletop game itself. These are no mere normie fans. These are fans that take this hobby seriously and are extremely passionate about this. And that is where CBR and multiple other media outlets get this wrong. They construe toxicity with passion. Passion with toxicity. They are not the same thing. The other thing, and probably one of the most irritating things about this article for me, is that CBR is stating how somehow Warhammer fans are lesser than DC and Witcher fans. The DC and Witcher fans have these scholarly, articulated comments and discussions and arguments, whereas Warhammer fans just beat the hell out of each other with a stick and just make noises at each other, when this is the farthest thing from the truth. But they are dividing fandoms from within and externally from without. They're doing this by attacking Warhammer fans, by calling them toxic and going, well, they're this and that. But then they're also dividing DC, Witcher, and Warhammer fans apart from each other. CBR is doing this on a larger plan. They have a grander plan here, if that's their case, if this is the case, because not only are they going to divide fans within the Warhammer universe, which hopefully we are stronger than that, but they are intentionally trying to, in my opinion, divide fans of other different fandoms. You can't like DC and also like Warhammer. That's just preposterous. And what this is going to do is it's going to pit people against each other. They're going to be going head to head against each other because of stupid articles like this. It's sickening to me to think that the second someone gets their hands on a property like Warhammer, or the second that someone like Henry wants to do service towards the fans and create a universe that is made specifically to respect and hold reverence towards the lore, that CBR would come out with an article this sickening, this disgusting, this depraved, that they would think that by calling fans toxic, by calling fans out, that they are somehow doing justice to them, but by somehow they're doing good or service. Because this article is not good. What do people get out of this article? They are only going to make people more upset by stating these things. The article goes on to say that the fandom perhaps most akin to the Warhammer adherents is Star Wars. There are many generations of fans, and they're all angry at the parent company for something. However, when it comes to fandoms like these, there's sometimes nothing that anyone could say. It's not what was done, it's any change at all that they're angry about. Of course, yeah, let's bring Star Wars into this. That's the best thing that we can do. Let's bring the Star Wars fans into this, because we all know that CBR is much more left-leaning and that they are shills for The Last Jedi and the sequel trilogy. So yeah, that's a great idea. Let's bring Star Wars into this whole thing. This is just a mess of an article. And I'm not even going to talk about this, I'm just going to let Henry do the talking when it comes to toxic fans or passionate fans and seeing who truly comes out on the other side.
I'm curious if that's comparable to this sort of world, this culture of toxic fandom, where like if you make a movie, especially if you make a superhero movie, like you have great intentions, but there are always going to be a small yet vocal group of people there can kind of just be toxic.
I understand what you're saying, but when it comes to fans, it is a fan's right to have whatever opinion they want to have. And people are going to be upset because, especially when you're talking about books or games, because you're never going to be the exact person who they had in their head or who they played on Witcher 3, for example. I don't necessarily consider that toxic. I just consider that passionate.
Beautifully said, Henry, and thank you for articulating my points better than I ever could. I don't know what this CBR article is trying to do other than calling out the fans for just literally being critical of something. And that's the thing, we haven't even heard any news of what the Warhammer universe is going to be. We don't know what stories they're going to adapt, we don't know what characters are going to be cast or what roles are going to be introduced. We literally know zero other than that there's going to be a show. And even that is iffy. There's so much we don't know right now. How can fans even begin to speculate on something and become toxic? How can we even criticize something that's not even there? The article concludes by saying, adapting this story, grim, dark, and full of sadly relevant socio-political themes, will be a challenge. However, perhaps more than ever before in his career, Henry Cavill is up to the challenge. Yeah, no, of course, CBR. The Warhammer universe of the grim, dark future where there's only war, constant violence, and battle. Yes, sure, there are sadly relevant socio and political things. This is just another way of them saying Warhammer has always been political. Aren't you guys ready for that argument to come back into the fray? We can't wait for that argument to come back. Warhammer has always talked about socio-political and economic decisions and themes. This is folly if they believe that they are going to trick the Warhammer fans into thinking that these are sadly relevant times. If anything, well, what CBR is going to try and say is that the Emperor of Mankind exists on a Trumpian level, that he represents Trump and the authoritarian rule of American government, and the Adeptus Astartes are the American military enforcing their will with an iron fist. Of course, CBR is going to, indoctrinate people into thinking that is the purpose of Warhammer. So to sum everything up, this article by CBR is actually what is toxic. It is not the fans in this scenario, it is articles like these that are published without any sort of proof or any sort of motive other than trying to harm fans and divide fans that is truly toxic. And that's what's so scary, because when the media is able to control the narrative like this, when the media that has such a large platform to disband people and relegate people to just, they're a bunch of man-babies or a bunch of chuds or a bunch of toxic fans, that is extremely worrisome and scary in the grand scheme of things, because they can say whatever they want without consequences. So I hope that with this new era of Warhammer, if it does come to fruition, I hope that Henry can squash a lot of these types of articles that will come out calling fans toxic or hate-filled or bigoted, because even in that clip that I showed previously with Henry discussing fans, he understands the passion that is required to love and enjoy something like this hobby. CBR, bad on you. I mean, this is shameful what you guys are doing when you do stuff like this. It does nothing but create division, and it's abhorrent to the type of behavior that is displayed with these media outlets. So anyway, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section below. Every day I begin to worry about this Warhammer franchise more and more and become less and less optimistic, but I don't know. What do you like I said, let me know in the comments section below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.